Hi, I'm Melaney.
And I'm Cory.
And welcome to Love 'em and Lead 'em.
Lessons and laughs with the ladies of Dog Training Camp USA.
In this podcast, you'll take away proven and practical dog training advice with plenty of stories and laughs along the way.
Join us as we share our experience from the kennel and from life.
With that, let's sniff our way into this episode. Howdy.
Welcome back.
Okay, so can we talk about this for a second?
Yes.
Okay, so this is my new Sandhill Crane sweater, and I put it on the other night. And if anybody knows me, you know, like I'm not like a graphic t-shirt person, like, but I'll do it like for a silly, like special
Your
occasion.
closet is called 900 Shades of Khaki.
Yeah. So like the last time I wore like a silly graphic shirt was like 4th of July, right? Like
And
that's
where
how
did you get that
often
shirt?
I do it. The cat shirt?
Yeah, where did that shirt come from?
Your closet?
It's not even your shirt.
You let me make it a crop top though. It's totally
I
mine.
did let you make it a crop top.
Well, I put this on. I was like, I feel like this is a special occasion, but it just it just boosted like my Monday night.
Last
I
night.
just felt like I was at like a concert and like my mood was good. And like this Sandhill Crane shirt has really turned my mood around.
I'm happy to hear that.
And you didn't get to see the Sandhill Cranes.
No, I missed them every time they passed by.
Yeah. Care to expand on that?
I mean, you see things and don't tell me that you saw it. You don't call me out. Cory, come here for a second, please. There's a bald eagle. No,
It's
you just keep it to yourself. And
It's crazy that we spend like so much fucking time together, but somehow like these crazy bird things happen when we are not together.
I know. And also, for those of you that are just listening, I did not see Melaney until we sat down to record this. And my shirt is not a bird shirt, but it does coordinate with hers. So we look pretty cute today.
It does. And that is because we're trying to cheer ourselves up.
Yeah, we've had a little bit of a rough go. My dog Harvey Walker was we lost him on Friday. We lost him Friday afternoon.
Yeah, he was a black German Shepherd. And what was he? Are we 2 years on the Wobbler's diagnosis or 1?
Yeah, 2 years. So he was actually my service dog, which we'll get into. And he's a really meaningful character in this big story, but he was diagnosed 2 years ago with Wobbler's disease, which it's kind of like, oh, it can be genetic. Oh, it can be spinal injury. Oh, it can be
I
all
feel
these
like
things.
they just are like, your dog is a little wobbly when he walks. Like,
Yeah,
he
something's
has
wrong.
wobblers.
Something's wrong.
We named it Wobblers.
So, the last 2 years, he's had to be on a massive dose of steroids that completely made him focus on nothing but food.
Basically, I'm a proponent of like those steroids, like kind of ruined his life. Like that was when we lost him, you know?
Yeah, his personality changed. His eyes went kind of blank. But so the alternative was pretty soon he wouldn't
Watching
have
him
been
be in
able
pain.
to walk, or he would have been in a lot of pain. And so it was already a really hard decision, which, we have all these clients. They are all making these similar decisions. So I just, we can relate to what happens to them too.
Hard to own in a pet. For sure.
We've had to make a lot of decisions about his care and his quality of life. And he hung around for 2 years. And as a family, we voted and decided that he was no longer living his best life. And also his illness was affecting everybody else, humans, animals, the dogs, the cats, everybody in the household was affected by it and stressed out about it. And he was not happy. No. And so 2 years of medical intervention and kind of keeping him status quo. And we decided Friday was was the day.
Harvey hung up the towel. But
he had a giant piece
yeah,
of chocolate cake.
Yep.
And this dog, I joked that I should have gotten like a couple hundred hamburger buns because over the past 2 summers, he learned how to open the trash and just eat whatever he went out of the trash. And I have the pull out kitchen drawer cabinet.
And it's not light.
Can. It's 2 trash cans.
It's heavy.
In it. And he would pull it out. He would do the same with the dog and cat food. It's in a similar cabinet, and he would pull it out and he would open it and eat, and then he would and unlock the pantry.
He would get Stella's Vittle vault open.
Oh,
if it was empty.
If you don't know what a Vittle vault is, it's a
canister with a twisty.
Yeah, it's a twisting dog food canister.
Meant to be dog proof.
But don't worry, because when a black German Shepherd is motivated, he will make it happen. Yeah. And so, he opened the Vittle vault.
Yeah.
And he was just utterly obsessed with food or eating anything.
Yeah, he couldn't.
So anyway, I was going to get him. Over the past 2 years, he's probably eaten close to 200 hamburger buns. Like it was almost because he could open the pantry door. He would just go in the pantry and just help himself. So we were getting like double the amount of buns we needed.
We were like at the store.
We're like getting Sam's cases of buns.
If we're like, should we get 1 or 2 buns? We're like, we always get 2 because we know we might lose some.
We might lose one. Like one day I pulled the plastic out of his mouth and everything. I mean, it was ridiculous. So anyway, so we want to pour one out for Harv because he's the reason we met.
Yep.
So we thought this might be a good time to
That was a hard one.
About it.
That was a hard one to say goodbye to Harvey. What was the year that Harvey joined your family? Was it 18?
I should have been prepared for this.
It's okay.
I think it was
Doesn't matter.
19.
Okay.
June of 19.
And what, your mom passed in
17.
Fall of 17?
Yes.
Okay. And basically what had happened was our friend Elizabeth.
What happened was our dear friend
across the river. Like thinking back on it, she called you up and was like, Cory, I have a dog for you because you were in the depths of grief over losing your mother.
I was a mess.
Kind of suddenly.
A mess.
And traumatically. And I'm not surprised at all that a friend from down across over the river called you and said, I have a black German Shepherd puppy. And you were like, sure, sign me up.
It's kind of funny. So I started, you were like, I was just in the depths of grief. You know, every good story starts out with, well, so my mom died.
A dead mom.
Dead mom story time. Yeah. Nothing lightens the mood quite like that. But I was a mess, an absolute nightmare mess. And I thought, okay, maybe it's time to get it. We had lost another very, very special dog to us right before we lost my mother. Oh. And I was like, I got to do something. I got to do something to break out of this funk. I got to get my mind right. This is not going well. My husband is like, you need a dog and you need to make it a service dog because you crazy. So
maybe it can fix you.
Maybe that will do. Maybe that will help. Nothing else.
Fix your brain.
So I started looking on. My friend Elizabeth runs Southern Indiana Animal Rescue. Shout out. Mm-hmm. And I had seen her post a gray dog that was very cute and it looked pretty big. And it turns out it was a Cane Corso female. And I said, Elizabeth, tell me about this dog. And she replied, oh, you don't want this dog. She literally was like, oh, no, girl, you don't want this dog.
Then I guess like Harvey was.
I mean, on the spectrum of pains in the ass. Jinx. So she promptly sends me a picture of the top of her desk. We'll have to post the picture.
Oh, yeah.
So that you guys can see it. Harvey with a black German Shepherd with gigantic paws and even bigger ears looking at her over her desk. And I was like, oh, he's really cute. Mm-hmm. Oh, he was so cute. Mm-hmm. And so we decided we would meet up and the whole family met up and we took him home and we were going to try him out. see if it worked.
You never have just tried an animal out.
That didn't happen. So then he stayed with us.
Unless it was Mildred. We tried her out, but
Mildred.
A tiny chihuahua that wandered up into the woods.
We found her a home. So that's how Harvey came to us and why. He was a grief dog. And I talk a lot about grief dogs because I thought naively, probably, now that I know what I know, it is naively. I thought, oh, a grief dog, that sounds like a great idea. It will comfort me and it will be my best friend and always love me. And when I'm very sad, he will know it and he will come do, caring and loving things.
Nope.
In actuality,
he didn't do any of those things.
He was the biggest pain in the ass ever born. And
he was a bad boy.
He completely changed my attitude, my mental health, and all of the things that I was looking for a change in. He did indeed change or help, but just in the exact opposite way that I thought.
I was going to say, you can't be sad about your dead mom if your elbow is down your dog's throat getting hamburger bun wrappers out of his mouth.
That is true. There was no time. He was difficult. He was adorable and funny, and he was such a good boy, but he was difficult. It was like, why should I listen to you? You want me to do what? What now? Yeah. And it was not very long that I knew that I needed some help. So what turned out to be, I thought he was going to comfort me, really was just a giant distraction / project, which is what actually brought me kind of back to life.
Yeah.
A distraction project.
Yeah. I mean, by the time I got there, because we had never met and she has this pain in the ass dog. I mean, yeah, by the time I got there, you were like a pile of just grief, like melted on the floor with this dog, this big giant black dog. And you're like, see, he's really such a good boy.
And I was crying and all the things.
So at the time I had just gotten out of the Army and was like, well, I'll make a go of this dog training thing.
You told me, you said, I don't know how to do anything else.
I don't know how to do anything else, right? I don't have any other life skills. I mean, I was like 23. I was 24. I was a baby. And so I get a call from Cory. At the time, I'm like, I don't have a kennel yet, but I was like doing a lot of private lessons around town, around Louisville. And so my phone rings and it's Cory. And she's like, I've been Googling and you just popped up. Like, how long have you been around?
Oh, yeah. I had been Googling for a long time.
Yeah.
I even went and did consults with 2 other trainers.
Yeah. I was like, oh, I've been here. Just Google probably just didn't show me to you, but I'm here. And
it was probably the day you uploaded your website.
No, I had been. That's why it was a weird thing because like I had been around a minute over. Let's see. I was well over a year established by the time you called me. And I hadn't done that many service dogs. I was still kind of getting my feet wet. And you're like, I have this service dog thing. When you told me how old he was and what his breed was, I was like, yeah, I'll come take a look at him.
Yeah. My husband was like, you better get your shit together. And if this is what's going to do it, then do it. Because you're unwell.
See, all this time, we thought we had Harvey to thank for us becoming business partners, but really it's Dave. Dave will never listen to this. No,
he won't listen to this. For sure. So it's
and I won't say nice things about it.
It's kind of both.
I know. And I came over and you were crying and I was very uncomfortable. And then you made me take a picture with him. Oh, and you wrote me a check in pink, like gel ink, and then my bank wouldn't deposit it. And I was like, this lady is a fucking pain in the ass. And she's very emotional. And I was like, at the time, still kind of a little bit emotionally stunted and like... I mean, I was a cop before that. So the only time I was going into people's houses and they were crying was like they were having a terrible day, right?
Like an emergency or blood or some such nonsense.
Triggered. Anyways, so we took Harvey in. I was like, I think I can help you. He looks fine. He looked fine to me. He was very cute, temperament seemed okay. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. You wrote me a check, out the door. I was like, see you in a couple weeks.
The thing that we didn't mention yet is that,
Oh yeah.
so all of these Google searches that I had done, like I said, I even went and talked to some other trainers, and I didn't get the feeling. Like, I was like, this is not it. I'm not pulling the trigger. This is not it.
Yeah.
And so when I found you, it said on your About Me page that you were from Springfield, Illinois. And so when I called and talked to you, I like
totally skipped over this
I know.
part. I don't know why.
At the very end of the conversation, I wanted to see if I liked you first. And so then at the very end of the conversation, we had set up our appointment and everything. And I said, hey, hey, I did notice something I wanted to ask you about. It says on your website that you're from Springfield. And you said, yeah. And why? And I said, well, because I'm from a small town just outside of Springfield. And you asked me what town, and I told you. And it was like a record scratch.
Yeah.
Because we were from the exact same little tiny town and went to the same high school 16 years apart and knew the same people and lived about 2 miles from each other our whole lilives.
Yep. Real weird.
And so the whole...
So by the time I got to your house, I was already feeling super fucking weird about everything.
Yeah, I was going to say, you were already like skeeved out about it because it was not normal.
No, I mean,
like,
we had
our
all the
town
same, we had all the same teachers. We knew all the same people.
Our town had like one stoplight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, my graduating class was 86 people.
Yeah.
So it was too strange of a...
Yeah.
Well, I don't believe in coincidences, but it was too strange.
Yeah.
To not notice.
Well, and also you cried on the phone and you were like, what? You're from there too? There you go.
Yeah, I cried all the time. And if I get through this podcast without crying, it's going to be a miracle.
Oh, you better not cry.
So anyway, that's how we met. Harvey. The biggest pain in the ass.
And he was a pain in the ass for a reason, because you were such a mess that if he was perfect, I would have trained him and told you to have a nice life and leave me alone.
Oh, you were
that big of a mess.
We would not have become friends if that dog had been easy.
No. Oh my God. We worked our asses off on that dog.
Yeah. So he went and did a board and train with you, and he did pretty well. I was horrible to deal with because I was calling. He was like 6 months, 5.5 months when he started.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was terrible. I was calling you crying. You were like, oh my God, I can't deal with this lady.
Yeah. I had a trainer at the time working with me and helping me train some dogs out of a kennel. And I was like, dude, I was out of town. And you were like, I want to see my dog. And I was like, dude, I'm sorry. Like, you're going to have to. Yeah. This lady's crazy. But yeah, it ended up being what kept me coming back to Harvey and not like just, kind of passing it off as something that couldn't be fixed was his dog reactivity. And we were like, oh, surely he's young enough that we can
overcome it.
And he was, I was new enough in my career where I didn't really know Black German Shepherds. I didn't know
whole thing.
The thing about them.
Yeah, no, neither did I.
I think at one point when I had Harvey, I had another Black German Shepherd at the same time as him. His name was Charlie. What's her faces? You worked with that lady. You worked with the lady. You would know the one. We won't get into it. But yeah, and it was same issues as Harvey, just in an adult body. And I was like, oh, holy shit. Like,
you're like flash forward seeing what we're going to be working with.
But now that I think about it, I had a Black German Shepherd in the military. He wasn't assigned to me, but his name was, I don't know. I don't remember his name, but that dog was a dick too. And he was very vocal. And was a total asshole. So it shouldn't have surprised me, but
I think, because he was difficult, it was such a project. And I just kept asking, like, what am I supposed to be doing? Tell me what to do. I'll do whatever you say. Yeah. And I would it was actually probably the only time I blindly did whatever you told me to do.
You're absolutely fucking right. It is.
Agree to the terms came much later.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did. I was out there working. My neighbors thought I was nuts. I was doing every single thing. You guys came and did sessions at the house and with the family. And then we took the show on the road. So his walking was great. He was great with the kids. He was great with all the other animals. I had a miniature dachshund at the time. He was fine with her. He was great with the cats.
Yeah.
He noticed when I was getting anxiety. We taught him to like alert, and then taught him some deep pressure things, some how to stand in stores and things like that. And he did really well. So he always could execute the tasks that he was supposed to be doing to help me with my PTSD. But if we saw another dog, he lost his mind.
Yeah, and we couldn't get him back. No matter what we did.
Yeah, and it was extremely rough. So it was something that we just kept trying one thing after another thing after another thing. And in the meantime, I was working him because he was doing a great job.
Yeah, I mean, part of our plan was, we were like, you just gotta avoid him and get, we kind of had a plan of what would happen if you were out and about and you came across a dog. But I mean, for the most part, he was helping you so much that it was, it was worth it, I think, until you got drug across a couple parking lots, because he also just like kept getting fucking bigger and bigger.
That's the other thing.
Gianter.
He ended up like at his highest weight, and he was never fat.
No,
he was 110 pounds.
So big.
So I'm like, what is happening? He was like, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Like when the kids grow back up.
Yeah.
Like that's a really old movie, but it was like,
yeah, he's huge.
He just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah. So you and I started spending.
I mean, we were meeting so often because he was such a dick, like parks, and I'll go find other dogs. And, eventually along the way, I opened a kennel. So he came down to the kennel a ton and we worked him there. We worked the piss out of that dog. We, took him every single park in this whole town a million times. So we were pretty frustrated with him. But it comes back to that like mental health part too. Like I remember that day that we met, you were like, I have this thing from when my mom passed. It's called PTSD. And you were like, but I feel really stupid even talking to you about it, because you were in the Army. And I was like,
like mine is not as bad as yours.
I know. I was like, well, that's not really competition.
Well, also, you didn't say that you struggled with anything, but I just assumed you did.
I think I did. I said no. I said I know, I get it. It's okay.
It too.
Yeah.
Welcome to the club.
I said it's no big deal. Because I really didn't know what else to do. Because I was so taken aback. But that kind of led us into this like weird thing where you knew how to put words to mental health problems, and I had no idea. I knew what PTSD was, but I didn't know what people, how they lived with it or anything. But I mean, I had it. I didn't know I had it at the time. And so we start working together and seeing each other, and you're
frequently.
You're not an idiot. You're noticing I pretty much opened a kennel in 2019, and I pretty subsequently had a mental breakdown, and you were like, what's wrong with you?
Well, it didn't help that the dog was constantly alerting on you also.
That fucking dog. He gave me up.
He did
all the time because he was never affectionate to anybody. The only time he was affectionate.
That again, it goes back to what I thought I was getting was not what I was getting, but the end goal turned out the same. Is that I wanted a dog to comfort me and to be affectionate and whatnot, and we got the literal opposite. And the only time he comforted or was affectionate was in response to
an
anxiety attack or an anxiety flare or anything anxiety wise, he responded to affectionately. So all of a sudden he really likes Melanie. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? Like, why is my dog alerting on you? So,
well, and I was so new at service dog training that I didn't really know that that's what it was. I thought, I give the dog the command and that is what, what it kind of starts learning. And I didn't think, I mean, I interacted with him enough. Of course he learned my moods, but I didn't think he would, because I'm an idiot. Like,
well, your background with dogs was treating them like they were equipment.
Yeah, it was an emotion. There was no emotion.
No, it's I give you a command, you execute the command, you get the reward. That's it. Just the conditioning of it.
And because you knew how to put words to mental health problems and things and symptoms, you were like, oh, I see you're having, like you were able to put it,
like connect the dots of it.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, well, this is strange. I'm not quite sure what to do about that.
Do you remember when we did a visit at the kids' school in the cafeteria?
Yep.
So we were practicing because I was taking Harvey everywhere with me. We were practicing different settings.
You took him to the school and he had like a really rough session. And you like got into it with the school about him, I think is what it was. And
it wasn't
you were
a
like,
rough session. It was just literally they didn't want him in the cafeteria.
That's what it was. Yeah.
So, but we kind of overcame that. And I'm like, you bet your ass we're going in the cafeteria.
Yeah.
And this is what we're going to do in practice. And it was the combination of, it was loud. There were a ton of kids. There was food, all the things. So for me, it was like the Super Bowl of where to practice with your service dog.
Yeah.
And so I was super pumped about it. And I was like, can you meet me there? And
yeah. And I had a panic attack in that place.
In the room, in the cafeteria with all the kids.
What are you thinking sending your kids to a place like that where there's no windows?
Well, there's windows, but remember they were like up high.
Their little bodies can't reach those windows.
No. So we're sitting in the cafeteria.
I still maintain
that
was a rightful panic attack.
I don't disagree, but the funniest part of it was that you were trying to hide that you're having one and still train the dog in me, and I'm like, oh, what's going on over here? So again, distraction.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is wrong with you? You're like moving and you're starting to breathe funny and your eyes are going wonky.
And Harvey's like,
Harvey was perfect.
Yeah. He's
absolutely perfect.
He's like, this bitch again.
He's like, I'm supposed to be working with my mother.
Yeah.
So
I can't keep track of both of these ladies.
We had to get out of the room. Remember? We had to, you're like, I think we've done enough. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? You're like, nothing. Why would you say something's wrong with me?
Right.
You don't know me.
I did not say that. I did not get that defensive.
But it like, that was when you were kind of like, oh crap, she's paying attention to me too.
Yeah. I mean, nobody had ever paid attention like that. Because I didn't, just nobody had paid attention like that. I never even knew what a panic attack was, Yeah. Then it was a hop, skip, and a jump, to you helping me. But I think the very first time we did it, I knew you had a background in special education, and it was a case where something I needed, like
somebody in the family had some disabilities or something.
And hell, it could have even just been Tammy, like helping with Tammy because she had the special ed background too. Another service dog client that turned into our friend. And I was like, I think I might need, like, this person has disabilities that aren't,
psychiatric.
Yeah. And like, that might be a little bit of something I need somebody to tell me what would be appropriate, to ask a person with that level of disability, or, I wanted to learn more about it. So I brought you in on a case, and we like had so much fun, and was like stupid good time. And the people laughed at us, and then we just kind of kept, it was like hey, I got to run by and do a blah, blah, blah. Like, it's a stupid dog. It's funny. Yeah. And then like, it just, from there, I don't even
We would
know.
take Harvey with us. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Harvey would be in the back of the car, and
Yeah.
We would take him with us, but it was an interesting time because my mental health was not great.
Yeah, well, neither was mine.
And neither was yours.
Yeah, I mean, he single-handedly like just glued us together, glued the two halves of us together and propped us up for a little bit. And then
It was basically our legs and arms were tied together because we couldn't. I wasn't functioning, and you were like, "Let's go do this," and I'd be like, "Okay," and then you were having a hard time, and so I would be able to step in for that.
Yeah. It's like he glued us together, and then like last week on Friday, he was like, "Okay, my job here is done. Bye."
Yeah, it really was,
and that sucked.
It did suck.
Yeah.
Look, you did it first. You're
Damn it, Matt. Matt, cut this part out.
No, I want proof that Melaney cries.
I didn't. I'm not even crying. I have a cold, which is why
okay. Yeah, no. In all seriousness, though, any dog loss is really hard, but like to lose your grief dog, it's like, okay, how do I lose my grief dog, and then how do I lose the dog that brought me professionally and personally to where we are? And so it's kind of got me all verklempt.
Yeah. Well, I think it's the perspective of the lessons learned for me. Like, did he ever really was he ever like satisfactory 100% in his job as your service dog? Absolutely not. He was a total fucking pain in the ass. I mean, you had to hide behind cars. I mean, did his job, but it was still like in my like book of like, I'm thinking about military dogs where it's pretty black and white. Like they either do the thing or they don't. They pass or fail, on these evaluations and stuff. Excuse me. And so I mean, that's why I kept meeting you, because I was not happy. Like, I was not happy that nothing I was doing was working and fixing this fucking dog. And, like I wanted to see it through and fix it. And I learned the lesson of you can't fix it all. And I was super hard on myself when I was a new trainer. Like, I thought I had to change that behavior, and it doesn't honor the dog's breed. It doesn't always honor what's best for the dog. Like Harvey got to retire from a service dog, and he lived some pretty awesome, happy retirement years. Once we stopped trying to make him be this thing that he probably like in the first place wasn't supposed to be. I think
I was going to say square peg in a round hole.
Literally.
I mean, and that's one thing that the two of us have both learned dog wise is they're independent creatures.
Yeah.
They have likes, they have dislikes, they have emotions, they have breed tendencies. Their genetics play a giant role, and not every dog is cut out for it.
Yeah.
And it's something that now when we talk to clients, you and I have such intimate knowledge of and frustration with. But I don't want to let on that he was terrible at his job. He wasn't. He had a character issue that made things difficult for sure.
He did the exact job that God put him on this earth to do.
He
perfectly.
Did. Yes, he did.
The job he didn't do good was the one we tried to make him do.
Yeah.
Yes. So, but
he did exactly. I mean, that dog went to Disney. He went to I used to have such bad anxiety when I traveled, and I used to have to travel a lot, and it was crippling. It was crippling. And once I worked with him enough that he could come with me as a service dog, I wasn't anxious when I traveled because I was focused on him and him being successful and mitigating any problems that we would have in an airport or whatever. And so even that part, like, was it what I thought it was going to be? No. But did it do exactly what I needed it to do? Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, he went to Disney. He went on a cable car in San Francisco. We went to wineries and we went to work conferences, and we went to the French Quarter, and we
took him to the beach.
He went to the beach. He just did. He went to 5-star restaurants. No one knew that he was ever there. He was perfect.
Yeah.
He was perfect.
We have to tell the beach story.
Again,
He did his job.
he did his job. So
we needed him to do.
We started working together. I do want to tell the beach story, but we need to tell why we were at the beach. So
Okay.
we started working together because you needed help on the people end, and your
Yeah, I
mental health
did.
was not letting you do things like business wise, like, you know, answer the phone. Which if you don't answer the phone, you don't have much of a business.
You hang out enough with me long enough, you started to notice, like, I would send every call to voicemail. You're like, are you training any
I'm like,
dogs?
what
I'm
is,
like,
am I your only client? Like, you didn't want to be my friend. So
no.
so I'm like, am I your only client? Like, why do you never answer the phone?
Yeah, you and Tammy were the only people I answered for about 6 months.
Yeah, because you were having your own things.
Yeah.
So we started doing some of that stuff together.
Yeah.
And we started doing lessons. So I was learning not just how to train my pain in the ass dog, but how to help other people and relate to other people. And you were learning how to talk to people about difficult things and relate to them to get
Yeah.
the point across.
I had to learn that. Yeah, I had no idea how to do that. Like all this, like the special education isms that you had introduced into our business is like the best thing, like that could have ever, like, you know, the things that your skills that you bring to the table, like, yeah, sales are great, but I could probably go hire another salesperson and be fine. But, which you're great, obviously a great salesperson too. But, it's going in and telling somebody like, look, what everybody gets is what's the fair one. I can't even say it right.
Fair doesn't mean everyone gets the same. Fair means that everyone gets what they need.
So, I mean, just dropping truth bombs on these motherfuckers. And what it was fascinating to watch, especially back then, because I'm like, she just told that person to go fuck themselves, but really nice. And now
they hugged her.
And then they hugged her. And then they wrote a Google review saying it was the best money they ever spent. I don't know, man.
It didn't take us very long to realize that we had a good thing going.
Yeah, what you wordsmithing the fuck out of people was just, you know, interesting and fascinating. So anyways, that was what was brought to the business.
So what I wanted was more of the actual dog training. So we had a mentor who was the best, the best. And we went and spent some time together with him in North Carolina. And we decided if we're going to go this far, we're going to stay on the beach.
His name was Donnie Holt, by the way.
Yes. And he was my man. He was the best guy. And he taught us, oh my gosh, he taught us so much. He's gone way too soon. And so we were at the beach. Harvey was with us, of course, because he was always traveling with us. And it was cold. And we were bundled up with hoodies and whatnot.
We were like, if we came all the way here, we're sitting on the beach.
Sitting on the beach. Damn it.
It was really cold.
I don't care what the weather is.
It was miserable.
And there's literally no one
for miles.
There was no one there. And we sat down and put our little chairs in the sand. We were having blankets around us and everything. And Harvey was hanging out and he was loving it.
He was off the leash.
And then what happened?
The guy came up like behind us. I think he was staying in the same place as us. I don't know. It's like kind of a like beach town, off season, like ghost town, right? So we weren't passing that many people to begin.
Yeah, the restaurants weren't even all open.
Yeah, and this guy sits down behind us.
He's got a yoga mat,
whole fucking beach, and he sits down like right behind us and starts like doing yoga and like pelvic thrusting and just being a creep. Like,
yeah,
you have the whole
it
beach.
was creepy.
Like, don't
it was
fucking
like
sit by
really,
us.
you have to sit right by the two women.
So Harvey keeps wanting to go over there, and I'm like, I keep trying to get him to come back, right? Because I'm like, I know Harvey will jump on this guy because he's the only other person out here.
Yeah, it wasn't like a working scene. He was just out there as a dog.
And yeah, we were relaxing. So I'm arguing with Harvey, get back here, Harvey, get back here, sit, you know. And finally, Harvey gets away from me, and he runs back there and pees on the guy.
He literally lifted his leg.
He lifted his leg and
he peed on the guy that was like sitting in a namaste pose.
And the guy was like, as weird as it was, like the guy still hadn't like talked to us or given me any reason to like be a total asshole to him. Like, I don't want my dog to pee on him.
Right.
Like, and I was like, I'm really sorry. Like, and I'm getting Harvey, and you're like sitting
I was
beach
laughing
chair.
so hard I couldn't even move. I was hysterically laughing.
And I grabbed him, and the guy rolled up his beach towel and walked further down the beach. And I was like, oh, thanks, Harv. Like,
I mean, it also comes down to trust your dog. Like, he didn't want that guy there.
Exactly.
He did not want that guy there. He thought it was weird, and we thought it was weird, and he was getting the vibe from us too. And so he's like, he would never hurt a fly. Not even a literal fly. The dog would not hurt. And so I knew it wasn't any risk safety wise for him to go up to a guy. And so he ran up on him and peed.
Yeah. He was a very scary dog. Yeah. Looking dog. But he was not scary. And
oh my gosh, he peed on a guy.
He peed on the guy. So those were the days, man. Harv was like our buddy, and we were a fucking mess, and just we were driving around and going into people's houses, and it was wild. It were wild times.
So that dog taught both of us a lot, and he taught us different things, and he's the reason that we met.
Yep.
And he's the reason we have some views on training and some practice in different scenarios and situations. And he's the reason that we can empathize with people so much and sympathize with them so much about these problems of dog reactivity, and how we know so much about managing and working service dogs as opposed to just you applied your working dogs very differently to how I utilized dogs. And he was a good dude.
He was the best, man. He even like the day before we put him down and he like succumbed to this crazy illness, like I was having a hard time and he alerted on me. So
yeah. He
damn dogs, man.
He was blinded by food unless there was an anxiety attack or a flare up, and then he was right on it.
Yeah.
So Harvey,
those meds that, we really got, this is, if we're going to go on this kind of depressing on this episode, we might as well turn the topic to just like when it's time to euthanize. Like that's something we have to talk to so many people about.
It was so hard because equality of life is, I mean, he was affecting everyone in the whole house, humans, animals, everybody.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, he wasn't happy. He had a one-track mind for food. He had a very hard time getting around. He couldn't play anymore. He could walk down the driveway, but getting back took a long time.
Yeah.
He couldn't interact with his brother the way he wanted to. He couldn't do the things he always loved. And it was a hard decision. It was a hard decision even to do the meds because, when you take a dog with mysterious symptoms, well, first of all, every dog presents with, when something's going on, it's like, oh, vomiting and diarrhea. Well, that could be 900 different illnesses. So unless you go for, $1 bazillion worth of testing, then it's what it is. You just deal with the symptoms.
Well, and I think his symptoms were serious and consistent enough that we were like, we know it's probably.
Yeah. So we knew it was something
that he would not.
A gait. It was a balance issue. It was not, he wasn't able to get up and down. He was struggling and he wasn't himself. And so initially we thought it was maybe an ear infection or inner ear problem because that's, he'd had ear infections in the past. Yeah. And when that wasn't the case, we went to some more advanced veterinary places. And basically we were told he either has this, which is cancer, or this, which is Wobbler's disease. So I start researching, and for cancer, obviously, is chemo. And for the other is like, oh, well, it could be a spinal surgery. It could be, there's all these things.
Things you
and
would
I'm like,
never subject your dog
yeah,
to.
I'm like, first of all, I couldn't manage a 110-pound dog after a spinal surgery and keep him quiet and keep him still and help him to the bathroom and all the things. So physically, nobody in my house is equipped to be able to handle that. And second of all, I cannot imagine putting a dog through that. So either one of the things that could be wrong with him, we were not going to treat.
Yeah.
So that's when we decided, okay, well,
he
if it's a spinal thing,
well to the med rounds that we did.
So we put him on some steroids and some pain medicine, and he did what he did, and he wasn't seemingly in physical pain, but his mental health and his quality of life just continued to decline and decline and decline.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I had to make the decision a couple of months ago with Miso, obviously. And his was way more cut and dry because he couldn't get around anymore, but I think that's something that it's also how we do things with a little bit more of an emotional eye, a little bit more of a spiritual eye, like respecting the animal, that this animal is suffering in Harvey's case, and not choosing to not put them through, even if it isn't an obvious like physical suffering.
Yeah.
There's still an amount of suffering that, I think you and I had so many conversations about, like, is
we
it
think
time?
This is right? Not time. Am I doing the right thing?
He doesn't seem to be in pain, but oh my God, he's miserable. That was like, it's just a funny spot to be in where we're the ones talking to people about this when it's happening in their house. And then, it happens and we're like,
yeah. And it happens in our house.
Yeah.
So again, Harvey is teaching us now how to be sympathetic and empathetic to people that are going through some of these issues at end of life.
Yeah.
It's not cut and dry. That's what's so hard about it.
Well, and I don't think you should ever feel guilty for considering euthanasia if your dog meets any of those kind of quality of life criteria, and pain isn't one of them, like he doesn't enjoy doing the things he likes and he can't,
that's the hard part, right? So if you think about the nature of our job is behavior modification. I mean, at its core, right? Mm-hmm. So now my dog his behavior is completely out of control and disruptive and upsetting, and he's not happy. And it's presenting 100% behaviorally, even though it's a underlying medical condition.
Yeah,
and so that's where, for me, the mental part of it was such a struggle. Is it feels like behavioral euthanasia, which when do we behaviorally euthanize? It's when there's bites, when there's all these terrible behaviors, right?
Yeah.
And that's not the case.
Yeah.
And it's medical cause for these behavior changes. And so that's where it was really hard for me to get my mind around it. And then I had to check myself because I was getting so mad at him and like yelling at him, and it's coming out as it's his behavior, but it's not his behavior.
Yeah, it's not him.
The medical condition and the medication that he's on for the medical condition. So it's been a really challenging 2 years with him.
Yep.
And now it's kind of a challenging time without him.
Yeah.
And that's the nature of his whole life.
Literally.
That's been the nature of that dog's whole life. It is. It was a challenge to decide it. It was a challenge to facilitate it. It was very obvious in the moment. His poor body was just done.
Oh yeah.
He is like, oh, you
like
can
relief.
People thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like seriously. He's like, I cannot believe how many hot dogs I had to eat to get you to this point.
Right. How many times I had to, like, attempted suicide, like trying to eat the hot dog bags.
Yeah. But it was a challenge. And you know what? That was his whole life. But without him, we wouldn't have our story. We wouldn't own the business together. We wouldn't be able to go into people's homes and talk the way we do to them about a variety of topics, not just dogs, not just dog behavior, and not just how to improve their current situation. So I'm very thankful for that dog.
Yeah. Yeah, man. He was one of a kind.
That puppy picture, I'll post it.
Yeah. I have a very similar one of him on my desk at the old kennel, just with his chin. And just his chin. And he has he had kept rolling a tennis ball up on my desk and like wouldn't stop and wouldn't stop. And I was like, I couldn't get any work done. And I was like, brother,
you're about to go get in a crate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll have to post his baby picture and then the picture of you at my house the first time we met.
No, don't post that picture.
Yeah, when I made you take a picture.
You made me and my trainer take one too, like on the first day of his first day of school picture. And I was like, I do not like this.
This lady is,
but I would like to get paid. So I'll take the fucking
best
picture.
Part of all of it is that I was such a pain in the ass mess and he was too. And you couldn't even cash my check.
Literally.
You're like, who writes a check in pink jelly? I'm the problem. It's me.
That sums up the relationship. Pink jelly and me not wanting to get my picture taken.
That is right.
Yeah.
That's why this Sandhill Crane shirt is so...
It's a big deal, man.
It is a big deal. I'm proud of you. It looks great.
I'm living out loud finally. Maybe. I don't know. I think it might be time to go home and take it off now.
I like it. I think it looks great.
Great. Well, I don't know how many minutes we've been going. Matt, how many minutes have we been going? 50? Matt,
there it is.
See, you were worried we wouldn't.
I wasn't worried about nothing. I knew I was.
You sat down and you're like, oh, I'm not prepared. Oh.
Well, we didn't have a plan.
Okay. Anything we need to talk about that we got coming up? Or anything that we did? We were out at Active Heroes. We weren't at Active Heroes. We did the thing with them.
We sold some t-shirts for Active Heroes.
Sold the shit out of some
t-shirts. We slayed that fundraiser. Yeah. We are getting ready to do an event at Bernheim.
Yes.
Called Pause in Nature. It'll be our fourth?
No.
Fourth?
It is.
I want to say it's going to be our fourth year.
The second year they had it,
we do obedience class, we do a booth, we do doggy parkour.
I hang around and act like I'm working, but then make Cory answer everybody's questions.
Yeah. That's true. And we always have a good time. I love seeing clients come out to Bernheim to see us. We always get to take tons of pictures and it's nice outreach for us.
It is.
We love Bernheim, and I'm sure that we'll be doing a little bird watching while we're there.
Say less. Bernheim, that's about it. We got group class coming up and we love that. And yeah. All right. Well,
till next time. Thanks for listening to this episode of Love 'Em and Lead 'Em. If you want to hear more, be sure to check us out every other week on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Please be sure to follow us on Instagram at Dog Training Camp USA Louisville and check out our website at dogtrainingcamplouisville.com for more information on our training and other services.
If you need help with your dog, don't hesitate to reach out. You can find our contact details in the show notes.
We'll smell you later.